Durham, North Carolina.
Durham 911, what is your emergency?
In the early morning hours of December 9th, 2001, a 911 operator at Durham Police Headquarters received a frantic call from a man named Michael Peterson.
Cedar Street? Okay, what's wrong there, sir?
Peterson told her his wife had fallen down the stairs. She was unconscious, but still breathing.
And is she breathing, sir?
He pleaded with them to hurry. The operator dispatched an ambulance and patrol officers right away. The EMT crew arrived in minutes. In a second 911 call, Mr. Peterson had said his wife had stopped breathing. Inside, the EMTs found Michael Peterson distraught, standing over his wife. He said he found her like this. They moved him away so they could attend to her. She had lost a lot of blood. They found no pulse, no sign of breathing. Kathleen Peterson was dead. Crime scene technicians were called in. They were careful not to track anything into the area. The site of every unexpected death must be treated as a crime scene. The technicians photographed the body to document its placement and condition. They noticed a bloody footprint on the woman's calf. The technicians recorded every detail, since anything can become important later. When they were finished, they removed the body. Durham Police Sergeant Terry Wilkins worked the scene.
What I noticed was what appeared to be an unusually large amount of blood for someone to have fallen down the stairs. I've witnessed people that have had fall injuries, and I've never in 18 years of law enforcement experience seen that much blood from an accidental fall.
Michael Peterson explained what happened earlier that night.
There are a few things that we need.
He and Kathleen watched a movie and drank some wine. He thought she went to bed while he sat outside by the pool. When he came in, he found her at the bottom of the stairs. Though the death was called in as an accidental fall, Durham Police Homicide Detective Art Holland was assigned the case.
It's routine for us to respond to death investigations where there may be suspicions or possibly foul play involved.
Checked her out. She is in fact deceased. Unusual situation in that there's an extreme amount of blood in the stairway.
Sergeant Wilkins briefed the detective about what they knew so far.
She did have a large amount of blood on her person, on the bottom of her feet, on the floor, under, beside her, on the walls, on the steps. There was spatter on the walls that was very concerning.
Noticed blood spatters on the wall there.
Because of the amount of blood, Holland's instinct told him it was more than a simple accident. If so, they would have to prove it.
Our crime scene technicians started photographing, videotaping, measuring the scene, which is a very time-consuming process.
They noted the placement and condition of anything that might help explain what happened that night. The technicians found 2 wine glasses in the kitchen. This fit with Michael's story that he and Kathleen shared a bottle of wine. They also found traces of blood on the cabinet where other wine glasses were kept and documented it. The blood throughout the house might be the best clue as to what happened. The investigators wanted a specialist to process it all.
One of our forensic technicians contacted the State Bureau of Investigation and requested their assistance to come to a blood spatter interpretation.
While they waited for the blood spatter expert, the investigators continued the search of the house. If it turned out to be a homicide, the mundane could become critical. From Michael Peterson's desk, they confiscated files, email printouts, floppy disks, CDs, and his personal computer. anything that might contain useful information. That afternoon, several hours into the processing, Special Agent Dwayne Deaver of the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation arrived. Investigators hoped the blood spatter expert would be able to tell them if it was an accident or murder.
An accident is going to produce a certain type of stain. It's going to be of a certain height. It's going to be of a certain quantity. And so we would look at that first. Are those things present? Do they look that way? Hey, how you doing? What have you got?
Immediately, Deaver saw signs of trouble. Smaller drops of blood mean more force was used to spray them out. In this case, the drops were very small.
Those impacts had been very forceful, much more forceful, in my opinion, than would have occurred from a fall.
Deaver needed to establish where Kathleen was when she started to bleed. From the shape of the drops, he first determined the angle at which the blood hit the wall. He then used strings to mark the direction the blood traveled through space. The point where the strings intersected was where the impact occurred.
I found points of origin off the surface, out in space, and that was inconsistent to me with a fall.
There was something else.
I found a transfer stain on the step right above her, where her body had been, that showed that an object that, to me, had a hook on it had been placed on that step. Perhaps that was an object used to strike the victim